"Ma'am, you don't belong in first class. Please step back." The flight attendant's voice was sharp, public, humiliating. Heads turned. A woman stood in the aisle, motionless. No anger in her eyes, no flare of emotion, just stillness. She adjusted the strap of her duffel bag, letting the weight settle across her shoulder. Someone snickered from row 3. "Yeah, looks like she can't afford it." She didn't respond. She simply inhaled once. Slow, controlled, as if she'd been here, this exact moment, hundreds of times before, not on airplanes, but in places far louder, far harsher, far more dangerous. She stepped aside, silent, measured, unmoved. The aircraft was docked at gate C-19, heat radiating off the tarmac as Arizona air shimmered in waves. Inside, the air smelled of jet fuel, synthetic leather, and recycled conditioning. She stood barely 5'4", lean, compact. Not the kind of build people associate with dominance or danger. Her clothes were plain, gray athletic shirt, worn jeans, boots scuffed by more than airport floors. Her hair was tied into a tight knot. No makeup, nothing fancy, just a basic boarding pass tucked between 2 fingers. Passengers sized her up with the same dismissive glance. Too small, too quiet, too average. She looked like someone who carried groceries, not classified equipment. Like someone who jogged local parks, not hostile terrain. The attendants assumed she was trying to sneak up front. The businessman assumed she'd bought economy and hoped for an upgrade. The young couple assumed she wandered into first class by mistake. Everyone assumed something. Everyone assumed wrong. She kept her posture low, unthreatening, hands loose, breathing steady, not because she feared confrontation, but because she trained her entire adult life to avoid unnecessary escalation, even if the world kept trying to throw it at her. Her name was Lieutenant Commander Mara Cole, but no one on that plane knew it. They just saw her as the woman who doesn't belong. Flashback, black water, cold, violent. Midnight. A RHIB boat slammed through waves as she crouched beside a hull, gloved hands gripping a carbine. A teammate whispered, "Cole, you're on point." She nodded once, 2 fingers raised. Move. She'd led that infiltration without hesitation. Precision, quiet, efficient, flashback, close quarters training. SEAL instructors dragging candidates through sand, surf, mud. Most quit. She didn't. She moved like a blade, unassuming, unflashy, lethal because of technique, not power. Flashback. A remote valley overseas, sunrise spilling across ridgelines as she hiked with a pack nearly half her weight. No complaints, no noise, just motion. Her reputation wasn't built from speeches, attitude, or bravado. It came from being the one who finished the job, being the one who never raised her voice, being the one who stayed calm while others panicked, being the one quietly trusted with missions others feared. She had earned her place, in silence, in grit, in restraint. Now she was returning from a discreet stateside briefing, booked, by her command, into first class. But she didn't flash badges, didn't announce rank, didn't correct anyone. She never did. Respect meant nothing if it had to be forced. "Ma'am, I'm not going to ask again. Your seat is in the back." The attendant stepped closer, blocking the aisle. Mara held out her boarding pass, calm, professional. The attendant barely glanced before saying, "That's impossible. First class is full. This must be a mistake." "It isn't," Mara said quietly. A man behind her chimed in, "Just move. You're delaying everyone." Another added, "People like her always try this. People like her." She didn't stiffen, didn't flinch. She simply stepped aside again, letting passengers push past her. She didn't want escalation. Didn't want eyes on her. Didn't want to be seen. Not here. Not now. She waited as the attendant hurried forward to verify with the system. Passengers slid around her, brushing her shoulder, some huffing, some rolling eyes. She stayed silent. Hands still. Body relaxed. Her breathing the only controlled variable in a tightening storm. As she stood in the aisle, she scanned the cabin, not as a passenger, but as someone trained to analyze environments in seconds. Exit points, obstacles, passenger count, crew positions, potential threats. Her brain ran silent calculations. Unconscious, automatic. Then she noticed something else. The boarding line was backed up to the jet bridge. The delay was getting attention. The attendant was digging through the computer, confused. A classic procedural misread. She'd seen this scenario countless times, not on planes, but in operations, assumptions replacing facts, authority overriding logic, ego overruling procedure. She watched the attendant argue with a gate agent through the cockpit door slit. Mara knew the booking system had already confirmed her seat. Her ticket was flagged by Department of Defense protocols. She predicted the exact unfolding before it happened. The attendant believing it was an error, a supervisor being called, a mild confrontation, a delay, a mistaken judgment based on appearance, not identity. She didn't step in, didn't correct them, didn't reveal anything, because sometimes the battlefield wasn't dirt or sand, sometimes it was human bias, and she had learned long ago, you can't yell your way out of someone's assumptions, but you can wait for the moment when truth forces its way through. It started with a voice from the cockpit, deep, calm, authoritative. Who's blocking boarding? The aircraft's pilot stepped out, tall, gray at the temples, eyes sharp from decades of seeing trouble before it started. His gaze locked onto the scene instantly. A woman singled out, crowd tension rising, crew confusion. He approached with purpose. "Is there an issue?" he asked. The attendant rushed toward him. "Yes, Captain. Passenger trying to enter first class with the wrong ticket." The pilot looked at Mara, really looked, her posture, her stance, her awareness, her calm under pressure. Then his eyes moved to her back, to the edge of her shirt collar, where a symbol, barely visible, peeked out from behind fabric, a trident, ink faded, edges scarred. The pilot froze, then his voice dropped, steady, respectful. "Ma'am, is that a SEAL qualification tattoo?" The cabin fell silent. The attendant blinked. Passengers leaned in. Even the couple from row 3 quieted. Mara didn't answer. She didn't need to. The pilot straightened, voice firm. "She's in 1A. She stays there. Clear the aisle." Everything shifted, instantly. The same people who dismissed her now pulled back. The pilot stepped closer, kept his voice low, private. "Didn't expect to see your community flying today. Welcome aboard, Commander. You're among family here." She nodded once, not smiling, not embarrassed, just acknowledging truth. He turned to the attendant, tone clipped. "Her ticket isn't a mistake. It's verified through DoD channels. From this moment on, you treat her with respect. Understood?" The attendant swallowed hard. "Yes, Captain." Mara walked to her seat, quiet, controlled, unbothered, exactly the way she walked off target zones after perfectly executed missions. No gloating, no correction, no need to reclaim anything. Her actions, the ones no one saw, had already done that years ago. As passengers settled, the attendant approached 1A. She looked pale, nervous. "Ma'am, I'm sorry," she whispered. "I shouldn't have assumed." Mara raised a hand, stopping her. "No need. Just treat the next person better." The attendant nodded quickly. "Would you like anything before takeoff?" Mara shook her head. "Water's fine." A moment later, the pilot passed through the cabin again. He paused beside her seat. "Your community saved my brother," he said quietly. "Years ago, Kabul. I never forgot that. She didn't boast, didn't claim involvement, didn't shift credit. Glad he made it home," she said simply. He nodded. "Anything you need during the flight, you let us know." She adjusted her seatbelt, settling in. The same businessman who mocked her earlier sat 2 rows behind, staring at her with a mixture of awe and regret. The young couple whispered apologies as they passed to the restroom. Even the crew watched her with new eyes, not fear, not discomfort, but respect. Earned, not demanded. She opened no laptop, no book, no distractions, just rested her head back, eyes forward, mind quiet, as if peace was something she had learned to manufacture inside herself. Some people walk into rooms and announce who they are. She never had to. Some people chase recognition. She never wanted it. Respect built on noise evaporates fast. Respect built on skill, restraint, and character lasts. People judged her appearance and dismissed her worth, but worth isn't loud. It's not decorated. It's not worn like a badge. It's proven, quietly, consistently, unshakably. And when truth finally comes to light, as it always does, it speaks louder than any uniform or rank. She didn't need validation, she just needed fairness, and she got it. If you want more stories like this, subscribe.